Made it! Whoa! Whoa!
Yes! Oh yeah, Mario time! Mario number one! Woohoo! Yes! Oh yeah, Mario time! Woohoo! I did it! Whee! Yes! Oh yeah, Mario time! Oh yeah, Mario time! Mario number one! Woohoo! Yeah! Wahoo! Yeah! Wahoo! Wahoo! Oh yeah, Mario time! Oh yeah, Mario time! Woohoo! Woo! 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 Woohoo! Whee! Woohoo! Oh yeah, Mario time! Mario #1! Woohoo! Oh yeah, Mario time! Oh yeah, Mario time! Mario number one! Woohoo! Oh no! Mario #1! Woohoo!
Thank you.
What? Oh, yeah!
In the early 90s, Nintendo faced mounting pressure from parent advocates to provide more educational games. With their backs against the wall, Nintendo came up with Mario Paint, an art, music, and animation program for the Super Nintendo. They hoped it would make children, as well as parents, happy. For many kids, it was their first experience with digital art.
I mean, it really was that open world and kind of gateway to creativity. And because it was marketed to people who were playing Super Nintendo games, it wasn't necessarily marketed to artists. It didn't assume you had any art background or any sort of creative background. In fact, the tools in the game, whether they were sort of animation, the art, the coloring, or even the sound design stuff, was all assuming that this was sort of new to you. And that meant that you could be free to just try anything. There was no sort of wrong way to do something.
Mario Paint wasn't fancy. It lacked many features that a computer art program would provide. But, as it is often said, limitation breeds creativity.
You didn't have an infinite number of colors. You didn't have an infinite number of frames you could get. You didn't have an infinite size on your canvas. Everything was very restricted to what you could fit digitally onto. For better or worse, it necessitated innovation on your part.
Mario Paint took off and became one of Nintendo's most beloved titles. It inspired a generation of artists, animators, game developers, and musicians. This is the story of Mario Paint. This episode of The Gaming Historian is sponsored by Honey. Just about everybody shops online these days, and we've all seen that promo code field taunt us at checkout. Well, not anymore, thanks to Honey. Honey is the free browser extension that finds promo codes for you and automatically applies them to your cart. When you go to checkout at an online store, Honey will drop down with potential savings. All you have to do is click Apply Coupons. Wait a few seconds, and Honey scans its database of all the working coupons for that site. I recently bought some new video game history books for research on half-price books. Honey instantly saved me $11 on my purchase. Honey has found its over 17 million members over $2 billion in savings and supports over 30,000 stores online. It's literally free and installs in a few seconds. Go to joinhoney.com/gaminghistorian to sign up, save money, and support the channel. That's joinhoney.com/gaminghistorian. In 1990, it seemed like Nintendo could do no wrong. The Nintendo Entertainment System and its growing library of games was a mainstay in pop culture.
Growing up, I was definitely a Nintendo kid. If you were a kid back then, you could tell that Nintendo was reaching out to you specifically to play their games, to love their brand and their characters. I had Mario blankets, Mario pillows, I had Mario cereal in the morning. We talked about Mario on the bus, on the school, on the playground. We acted out as Mario. So growing up around the time Nintendo was starting to gain popularity, it was super difficult to ignore it. It was everywhere.
But as the company's popularity grew, so did concerns from parents.
Nintendo video systems have become as essential in the American home as microwave ovens and cordless phones, and just about as plentiful. The games are colorful, imaginative, and wondrously entertaining for children and adults. But as annual sales shoot toward $2 billion, some parents are preparing to discard Contra, Commando, Ninja Kid, and the rest of the Nintendo arsenal. Neil Rubin, The Dispatch.
What effects did video games have on children? A small but vocal minority of parents complained that video games made children less sociable and more irritable. They said children suffered from the Nintemper tantrums. Therapists held group sessions for families that felt their children played too many video games. The Council for Children's Television provided guidelines for parents that included limiting playtime, unplugging the system after each use, and refusing to buy violent games. Psychologists mostly disagreed, saying that video games were not inherently dangerous. But there was one thing parent advocates and psychologists did agree on, that video games had the potential to be great educational tools. But there was little incentive for console developers to make educational games. Historically, educational game sales paled in comparison to traditional video games. In 1989, video game software sales reached $3.5 billion. Educational games only accounted for $350 million, or 10%, and the majority of educational titles were on computers. Nintendo had little success in creating educational games. Back in 1986, games that taught letters and numbers. THQ created Videomation, a basic drawing and animation program. Software Toolworks created the Miracle Piano Teaching System, a full keyboard and game that taught kids how to play the piano. Nintendo knew it wasn't enough and feared a growing backlash, but they also saw the challenge as an opportunity. While educational software sales weren't huge, they were rising, and computer-based edutainment games like Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego were popular among parents and school systems. There were also long-term benefits. In 1990, births in the United States topped 4 million, the largest number since the 1960s. In a few years, parents would look for educational games for their children. And with the high cost of personal computers, educational games on the cheaper Nintendo systems would be more enticing to consumers. Nintendo also had a massive user base. There were 40 million NES and Famicom consoles worldwide, 20 million in the United States alone, and it was growing. If Nintendo tapped into the entertainment market, they could win over concerned parents and sell even more video games. On May 15, 1990, Nintendo announced a $3 million donation to MIT's Media Laboratory. The lab studied ways to create educational games that didn't make kids feel like they were being forced to learn. Nintendo President Hiroshi Yamauchi stated, "We have long felt that we owe a responsibility to develop our hardware and software to enhance the educational opportunities through our machines. I am confident this program will contribute to a smarter generation than ever existed before. If nothing else, it was a great PR move. But the very next year, there were more problems.
But have things gone a bit too far? This evening, Ken Shockley wraps up a special report on Video Mania.
On August 23, 1991, Nintendo released their new 16-bit console, the Super Nintendo, in North America. The console gave players better graphics, better sound, and bigger games. Gamers were excited, but parents were not. The Super Nintendo was not backwards compatible with NES games.
He had the Game Boy, and now he has the Nintendo, and now he has to have another unit just for that one game. It doesn't seem right.
It also cost $200, double the price of the NES.
I'm going to say no, and I'm going to explain to him how people market things to make you spend more money.
Parents, once again, felt like Nintendo didn't have their children's best interests in mind. It was time for Nintendo to make something different. Something parents and children could be happy about. Their solution was Mario Paint, a digital art, animation, and music program.
Mario Paint is a creative tool for people who have probably never used a creative tool before.
On the surface, Mario Paint seems like it's just a game. And you're right to think that. It's also something that was brilliantly designed to encourage the player to discover not just the limits of the game, but their own limits in their imagination.
Mario Paint was directed and designed by Hirofumi Matsuoka. He joined Nintendo in 1985 as a graphic designer, but with software sales soaring, he was quickly reassigned to game development. He worked on games such as Metroid and Super Mario Land before being named director and designer of Mario Paint. I got to do what I've always loved, design work, he said. But to create works of art, a controller wouldn't cut it. Previous art programs on consoles used standard controllers, and making anything detailed was a struggle for users. Nintendo wanted Mario Paint to be different and to be a viable alternative to art programs on personal computers. So they created a mouse, designed by Game & Watch and Game Boy co-creator Satoru Okada.
I didn't get my first actual home PC until several years after Mario Paint came out. So it was the first mouse-based interface that I got to know thoroughly. And I think, it was weird to plug it in. And I think what I found so interesting is that it became very natural, quite quickly because I just got so used to using it. And it was weird to see someone using a mouse on the Super Nintendo, hunched over a table on their couch. But suddenly I was in love with the whole idea of just this sort of digital art interface. And I don't know, maybe if I'd been using some really complicated PC program at the time, it wouldn't have been that way. But because Mario Paint was so accessible, I just fell right into it.
Adding Mario, Nintendo's flagship character, into the game was strategic. It would, of course, drive sales, but it would also show that Nintendo was serious about expanding into edutainment games. In a press release, Nintendo stated, "Mario Paint and Mouse will open the doors to a new array of exciting learning games."
I think it was a great decision to have Mario as the main image for Nintendo because Mario games really pull in everybody.
Games that we're really super excited about. One's called Mario Paint, and it basically is the first time a mouse has ever been used for the video game, and kids or adults can animate, can paint pictures. You can then put music to it. You can save your work. Pretty in-depth and pretty neat product.
Nintendo also announced price cuts to the Super Nintendo. Consumers could now buy a console for just $99.99. Mario Paint cost $59.99. For $160, parents could give their child a digital art program. Compared to the $1,000 price tag of a computer, it was enticing. Mario Paint was released in Japan on July 14, 1992. It took off quickly. In its first 2 weeks on the market, it became the country's best-selling game. beating out titles like Street Fighter II and The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The next month, Mario Paint shipped to retailers in North America. In December, the game reached Europe. A $6.5 million advertising campaign spread the word. Along with TV commercials, ads for Mario Paint appeared in magazines like TV Guide, Parents, and Good Housekeeping. Nintendo wanted to reach as many parents as possible. The ads read, "Send your kids to art, music, and film school for only $59.95.
What I don't remember is if I'd asked for it or if my dad had figured out that it was a good idea. But he knew that I was going to be playing video games a lot because that's what I was doing. And in his mind, this was at least something where I could be creative and productive as opposed to just playing the game. So opening up that gigantic box and then just realizing, oh man, I get to work on something was super exciting.
When players turned on Mario Paint, they discovered it was no ordinary game.
When you put in the Mario Paint cartridge, you would think that normally, like any other game, it would just start up and you'd start playing. But with Mario Paint, it doesn't do that. It actually puts you in a position to discover how to enact the game. So you put the game in, it starts up. Mario starts running across the screen, and you have a little cursor point, and Mario will actually run away from you. You have to click on Mario to even start the game. So that's a whole aspect of just discovering that's built into enacting the game.
Each one of the levels is interactive. The R chases Mario off the screen. P paints this picture on the screen. The O turns into a bomb that explodes, and it plays a hidden tune in the game. Another one scrolls the credits of the game. I think it's just so creative.
The title screen was only the beginning of the strange world of Mario Paint. An animation of two people working out greeted the player before a blank canvas with various tools appeared before them. It may have seemed overwhelming to some, but Mario Paint encouraged players to experience the game at their own pace.
Mario Paint has a universal language in that regard. And that language being discovery. It literally is something where you need to discover how to play the game in a very playful way. This isn't like other games where it's poorly made, and so you need to figure out how to work these bad tools that the game designers put in. Mario Paint's not that way. Mario Paint is a very well-designed experience as far as programming goes. It's not that the tools don't work, it's that they don't explain to you how they work, and so you need to discover that for yourself.
When it came to making works of art, Mario Paint contained all the essentials for the budding artist. Multiple-sized brushes, a spray paint tool, a shape maker to create squares and circles, a fill tool to quickly color in blank spaces, text, which included letters, numbers, and even Japanese characters like katakana and kanji, erasers, along with 9 different animations to erase the canvas. Players could even copy and paste. A friendly undo dog got rid of mistakes.
So Nintendo also offered a coloring book section where you can color in freely colored art. And they had different options for you to use. They had Super Mario World art with Mario riding Yoshi. They had Happy Birthday cards you can make. I think if not everyone was a good artist, they probably had some creativeness with coloring or filling in colors with their own ideas, maybe to inspire their creativity to make their own art eventually.
There were also preloaded stamps, shapes, objects, animals, and even characters from Super Mario World. And if that wasn't enough, players could make their own stamps and save up to 15 at a time.
The stamp creator in Mario Paint was something that was pretty exciting because I think for a lot of people, they maybe had never known before. Very fine detailed brush that is the size of 1 pixel. This could be very good for details.
Mario Paint didn't limit players to still images. There was also an animation tool.
Up until that point, I had no ability to make any kind of animation unless I was, creating like a flipbook, which I also had tried before. And so for me, the idea to take all this sort of silly concepts in my head and actually get a digital animation tool was mind-blowing. Is this adventure as it was?
For the animation aspect of Mario Paint, you had 3 different options. You had a canvas that was fairly large that you had 4 frames of, or you had a medium-sized canvas that had 6 frames, and then you had a very tiny canvas that had 9 frames. It was up to you to figure out what the trade-offs would be in having a large-scale animation with a shorter number of frames that it could play, or a smaller animation that could have more frames and thus more details to how something was animated.
In addition to drawing and animation, Mario Paint also had something unique to an art program, a music editor, where players could make their own songs.
I remember jumping right into the music player because that is what I was really interested in trying. The music editor featured a whole bunch of different sound effects. They would pair up a sound with a familiar Nintendo character or icon or power-up or something. The guitar is one of my favorites. It's an airplane. The heart created a bass, and if I think of a heartbeat, I think of something very low. So the heart was designed to sound like a very low instrument. The stars were like a twinkle sound, and they had this weird baby face that would make this weird sound like a laugh or a chuckle. And everything was tuned exactly where it needed to be. Even the dogs and the cats would bark and meow right on pitch. Mario Paint came with 3 preloaded songs. I had not been able to read music very well, but I knew the sounds I wanted to know. I knew where I wanted the sounds to go. I just didn't know how to do it. So by listening to the demos, I was able to get a head start on that process. For me, to be able to hear music without playing it was a skill I thank Mario Paint for. As you're drawing on Mario Paint in the music editor, you could see the sequence of notes going higher or see them going down, but you could also hear them as you're putting them on the staff. And that benefit translates very quickly back to us as musicians.
Drawing, animation, and music could be combined to make movies, music videos, and more. The possibilities seemed endless. But there were drawbacks. The cartridge could only save one creation at a time. But Nintendo had a solution.
So you could only save one thing at a time on the Mario Paint cartridge. You just had a limited memory, and that was the reality. So one of the things that Nintendo encouraged was for users to hook up their Nintendo to their VCR and save their creations that way, and even share them amongst people. I think they even recommended to send somebody a VHS tape in the mail, some kind of birthday greeting or something. I don't know how many people actually did that, but that was the predominant way to save these things back in the 90s.
I was assigned to do a project on Patrick Henry, and I was really into Mario Paint at the time, and all I did in the animator was a fist pounding a desk. I read the line, "Give me liberty or give me death," over a microphone plugged into the VCR, and I synchronized it with Mario Paint, and that was the scene. That scene took me a couple days to make. So it really made you feel like you were a producer, and I love that.
Mario Paint wasn't just a productivity application. Nintendo also included a minigame called Gnat Attack, where players had to swat flies. It was a nice break from working, symbolized by a coffee cup icon in the bottom right corner.
It was the first time I was ever introduced to using a mouse, and I gotta thank Nintendo for Gnat Attack. Gnat Attack was, I think,